So you're right. This isn't the legacy. Um, so some of you guys on the channel might know, if you follow me on social media or anything like that, that I did sell the legacy. I actually sold it last year. I just been have kind of posting up videos a lot slower and more behind than I should be, but kind of just something that I do in my spare time, so I don't have like a set schedule or anything like that. Um, so that's why the videos that you see are quite behind in terms of when they actually happened. So I sold my legacy, back in, I believe it was either September or October of 2019, and there's a few reasons for that. So I bought the car a few years ago. It had 160,000 kilometers on it, or for American viewers, that's 100,000 miles. So it wasn't necessarily a low mileage example, but it was completely stock. It was owned by an older gentleman, so I was like, okay, this, it's clearly well taken care of. So I kind of jumped on that opportunity. Interestingly enough, that car was actually for sale at the time that I bought my Mazda Speed 3 that I had previously. So when I sold that car and this car was for sale, it's kind of like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, it was a car that I had wanted at the time when I was shopping for my Mazda Speed 3, but it was a little bit outside of my budget. So I ended up picking that car up. So I drove that car for 2 years, a little over 2 years, and I put on, when I sold it, it had 245,000 kilometers, sorry. Um, which is, I think, a little over 150,000 miles. So I did a decent amount of driving in it during the time that I owned it, and kind of got to a point where, like, car was higher mileage. Despite some of the pictures and stuff, it was not the best in terms of body condition. Here in Alberta, we have pretty long winters. Sometimes they're a good, half of the year, and most places salt their roads, and so definitely the salt kind of took a toll on the body. I did a lot of winter driving, so things like rock chips and stuff like that had accumulated quite a bit. So decided it was kind of time to move on. Ended up selling it to a guy in Edmonton, and he's still daily driving it, so I know the car's still going strong. But kind of, so that's one of the reasons why I sold the car. I guess another reason is I ended up getting a job down in Calgary, where I had an apartment, but this apartment only has one parking spot. And in conjunction with recently getting married at the time, my wife not being able to drive stick, we decided that the best car to keep was this one, the one that I'm sitting in. It's a 2008 Honda CRV. So that was the main driver in why I sold that car. So kind of, like, it was my first introduction to Subaru ownership, which was actually quite pleasant for the most part. Um, when I bought the car, it did have a few issues here and there. Kind of given the age and the mileage, it's kind of bound to happen. So, repaired those. And honestly, the car really did not give me any trouble during the time that I owned it and all the miles that I drove on it too. I did do some modifications. I can kind of touch a little bit in more detail, or you can kind of watch all the videos that I have made, kind of outlining all the modifications I did to that car. But I'll probably just make a quick little video to recap all the things that I did do to that car, kind of what I did, what modifications I did. The car was completely stock when I bought it. Ended up parting it out for the most part before I sold it, um, which I just find it's the best way to kind of recoup your modification costs. And that way, a modified car generally doesn't appeal to a lot of people. So you're really limiting yourself to a certain group of people that want a modified car if you're selling a car as is. So in most cases, it's better to return the car back to stock as possible and sell it that way. So that's the route that I took. But yeah, so this 2008 Honda CR-V, it's obviously nothing too special, but I will be making a couple videos on it, on some work that I had done. So expect to see those. So unfortunately, if you're looking for more legacy content, you won't see my car specifically, but I might make a couple videos on kind of detailing what to look out for, common issues, or anything like that. So if you have any kind of things that you do want to see in particular in regards to legacies, or like a little kind of like talk over video, um, let me know. You can leave a comment like on a suggestion or anything, and I can try my best to put something together. I did spend a lot of time researching about that car and kind of looking into forums and stuff like that. Obviously, Legacy GT forums is a huge resources that you can use. So I did do a lot of time researching there and kind of went through, the typical mods that a lot of people do without going too overboard in regards to, like building your motor or upgrading turbos, etc. So, I will make a couple videos here and there, but yeah, for the most part, Legacy stuff is done. I have made up my mind that I will need kind of a fun toy for myself, so I'm hoping to pick one up relatively soon, or at least, lock something down. Currently, right now, as I'm filming this, we have the COVID-19 pandemic going on, so there's a lot of travel restrictions, so if it's going to be a car, not within the local area, it might take a while, but yeah, look out for that. So feel that I just needed to give a little bit of an update or whatnot on kind of the whole situation and why you might not see any legacy videos kind of going forward. But yeah, so stay tuned. I'll make a few videos here and there like I mentioned before, but that's for the most part. Catch you next time.